future is here. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
Hey everyone, this is Josh, and it's back with Cardboard Chronicles. I'm here with David. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, Josh? How you doing?
It's been a little while since I've done an episode. I've been busy with Card Ladder and stuff, but I'm really excited to have you on. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so let's jump into it. Let's start by you telling us about yourself and your background in the hobby.
Okay, well, I appreciate you having me on. This is obviously my favorite show. I've been watching this. I've watched every episode numerous times, so I appreciate you asking me. I'm a dinosaur. I'm 46 years old. I am a managing partner of a Texas Roadhouse steakhouse from Indiana. Been collecting for off and on for 30 years probably. And I started, it was in my teens. So I started with baseball, just like, pretty much everybody around that time. But just like a big Reds fan. So that's kind of where my Riverfront Collectibles names comes from, old Riverfront Stadium. And then I just kind of kept it, even though I switched to basketball. But I did like a lot of Pete Rose stuff, Johnny Bench, like the Cardinals too, for some reason. So I was like Willie McGee, Vince Coleman. And then later in the 80s, I started getting really heavy into Ken Griffey Jr. when he first came out. So I had a huge stash of him when he first came out. And so I would like set up at shows, like local shows and stuff, and try to buy stuff, open it, and then flip it to try to get Ken Griffey Jr. And then I started seeing a little bit of money back then. And then one show, I remember selling all my Ken Griffey Jr.'s to one guy, and I like instantly regretted it. But so like, then life happens, and then you go do stuff. And then I kind of jumped out of the hobby for a while. Back in the early 2000s with a little bit of basketball. But I wasn't really breaking any exquisite or anything like that. It was more, I was opening some Topps Chrome and stuff like that. But then, I kind of got bored of it again and came back really hard in 2016, I think. And in 2016, I was pretty much strictly Bowman Chrome baseball. And I was doing the prospecting thing, buying and selling prospects, and slowly trying to work some cash flow up to get some bigger cards. And until recently, maybe a year and a half ago, I started back into other sports like basketball mainly now. Still do a little bit of baseball, but and then just recently started a foray into football a little bit. So it's just off and on for 30 years, but the last 4 years have been the most serious.
I'm really glad to have someone on with like some real experience, as a dealer and someone that's been around for a while and seen a lot of things, just because it seems like everything else on the content world is kind of going towards the new stuff and the new collectors. So I really want people to pay attention and try to like pull in some of this wisdom we get. I'm not calling you old.
Right. I don't know how much wisdom I have, but I'll try. Yeah, I'll try.
I think it's just more of like, guys that have been around longer have a little bit more patience, and they've kind of like, they don't get excited or overly shocked about things that they see. Right. Is that something you've noticed as well?
Well, I've been more shocked now in its last 6 months than I probably ever have been. But yeah, I get your point. I'm a little more patient, a little more used to how things go. But I don't think anybody's used to what's been happening here recently with these prices going straight up. It's crazy.
But so I've been around 30 years. Have you seen anything like this?
No, not even close. No, I mean, back in the day, you bought stuff and you hope that watching people play, watching baseball players or whatever play would make their cards rise slightly, and then you might be able to eke out a small profit and hopefully take that, invest it into something else, or maybe just build your collection. But now, I mean, you're buying stuff sometimes before you even get it in the mail, it's worth 1.5x what you paid for it. It's just, it's craziness, but it's a good thing. Like, I think it's long overdue. Like, sports cards have been not held down, but not appreciated by enough people for too long. And I think now they're just starting to get the mainstream appreciation that they deserve, because it's an amazing hobby,
Yeah. So what do you think is like the biggest contributor to the mania in the last 6 months? Is it COVID? Is it new people? Like, what is it? we're all trying to figure it out.
I think it's a mixture of more personalities and like social media influencers coming in and help and bringing awareness to people and the money. I think people are showing that showing social media that, or whatever, that they're making a profit, and it's bringing people in that have never even been into sports cards ever before. Maybe they like sports and they just want a different avenue. And then sports bettors and fantasy football players, DFS people that can't do that when sports is shut down. So they're trying to find another way to enjoy sports and another way to potentially bring in some income. And then once they're here, I think they're falling in love with it. You know, once you get those cards in hand, it's like, man, this is pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what differentiates us from the gambling and the DFS is like once your money is won or lost, you kind of move on. And this is like, I mean, we've got guys that stuff is 10x and they won't sell it because they still want to have it.
Yeah, it just depends on how rare it is too. But like in DFS or betting, you know, you lose, your money's gone. If you buy a, you know, Patrick Mahomes and he has a few bad games, you know, not all your money's gone. It may not go down at all. You know what I mean? Or it might go up just depending on how the hype is. So I think it's an even safer avenue than gambling or DFS. And it's more fun because you can hold it in your hand.
Yeah, you do the DFS stuff too, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Do basketball, do some golf, do some football.
The cards are your favorite?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
What's like your big, what are you going for right now, like in basketball? You said you're doing basketball right now, but like what players are you after right now?
Well, I'm trying to find some vintage stuff. Like just bought a Kareem rookie, Bird Magic rookies. I think are extremely, you know, everybody says everything's undervalued, but I think they're undervalued for what they meant to basketball and how cheap they are comparatively to especially baseball. You know, if you look at Mickey Mantle or Hank Aaron in that era, their rookie years, if you compare those with like Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem and Bird and Magic and even like Elgin Baylor's insanely cheap. But so I think that's a good avenue, and I love them. So that's what I'm after right now. And then I'm always after Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Those are my favorite guys. That, you know, like I said, I'm older, so I grew up with those guys. They say the NBA, you know, when they came in the NBA. Well, I mean, they played each other in a national championship in college, and they came in the NBA together. And if you know, go watch some stuff, I mean, the NBA was in a bad place at that time, and they came in and immediately saved it. And I don't think they get enough love for what they did, you know. And one of the knocks people say, well, Panini makes too many autos of those guys, and you know, like people like LeBron and Kobe, obviously, are never going to sign again. And I understand that, but Luka base prism PSA Tens, how many are those? Like, I don't know if that argument's valid, like, because they're making so much of everything. I don't think it really matters. I mean, those guys are goats and they are cheap. And
they only have one rookie card though.
Yeah.
To change that, you know, it's like they sign a lot of autos today, but that's post playing days. If you want to actually like narrow down to the comparison to the Luka base, it's like they have one rookie card and it's fucking awesome.
Right. Yeah. So like, I don't think that they're going to keep signing thing holds water. You know, I think they're better than that. I think that if, you know, you're looking at a Michael Jordan 0304 limited logos is what, $60,000-$70,000, and you know, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson are $3,000 to $5,000. I just don't think that.
Yeah.
And it's great that I think those guys are undervalued. But even if they weren't, even if they were more expensive or way less expensive, I would still be collecting them because that's my childhood. And those are the guys that I like.
Yeah. And there's an argument to be made that those guys ushered in kind of this like individuality of the NBA that we have today, where it's like these superstars standing on their own, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that you have one without the other, you know. Magic drove Larry and Larry drove Magic, and they competed against each other on all levels, and I don't think you have one without the other. So when I decided to come back into basketball, I was thinking to myself, like, who should I like PC, you know? And then I'm like, well, there's some Larry Bird guys that collect him, and there's some Magic guys, but I'm like, if I'm going to do one, I might as well do them both. And obviously it's good that they have some upside, but you know, it's just my childhood, and I think those guys are awesome. So, and there's some cool cards of them out there. They're, you know, they have cards in the exquisite era. So,
yeah, I was gonna say, like, they still sign, but they only sign for Panini. You know, they don't. Those exquisite stuff is locked down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's getting increasingly harder to get it too. So
Yeah,
I think people are starting to catch on.
that's great, man. Well, anything that's not, Zion and Ja right now, I'm very interested in hearing what someone has to say, because it's like you see the same kind of stuff over and over. It's nice to like hear someone collect something a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't mean to bet. I understand why people like those guys. I'm just not a big fan of either one of those guys really at their prices, and I'm not a huge fan of the draft class in general. I just don't. You look back to 2018, you had Luka, Trey, Shea, even Sexton, Bagley, Ayton. I mean, it's 10 deep of stars anyway. And then this year you got like Zion and Ja Morant, and then like who after that? I mean, people are reaching. In my opinion, they're going deep on Cam Reddish and all these other guys. And I'm not saying those guys aren't going to be good players, but to me, paying what people are paying for guys like that when they could just go back and look at last year's class seems a little smarter to me.
You said that you enjoy collecting Bird and Magic more.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about this a few times, but I feel like if you still buy what you like, you end up doing better financially, because you're just like, you're not as like rushed to make decisions. You're sort of more like holding a little bit longer, and you end up doing better, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, and numerous people have come on your show and said the same thing, but I totally agree that, and I think I heard Chris say it recently, but a collector's mindset will always win out, in my opinion. If you have that mindset and you have a genuine collector's way of thinking, then you slowly acquire a PC and you slowly, carefully acquire stuff, and you're not just trying to buy everything that you see of a new player. I think that it rises, and you just have to be patient, and people will see your love for it, and then they start to catch on, and then they're like, oh my God, this guy loves Bird Magic. Why don't I? Or, why does he love? Because they're so underappreciated. Maybe that makes sense. And then they start getting interested, and then your stuff starts rising organically.
100%. I like that. I mean, dude, it's not a pump and dump if you like the stuff, right? And you're keeping it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I won't tell you what I was, but probably my favorite card, I was just offered triple what I had it valued at, and I've had it for 8 months, and I immediately hit decline. That's just, I just love the card, and I just don't want to sell it. You know how it is. I mean, you've got stuff you won't sell for crazy money. I'm sure you've been offered crazy money on some of your LeBrons, and you're just like, nope, sorry, keeping it.
It's crazy that, like, if they would have offered me that 6 months ago, I would have said yes, because it was like, just an obnoxious number, but it just like keeps going up, and it's like, why would I sell right now?
Right. If I was a Braun guy and I had a bunch of Braun, I don't know that I would be selling either. I mean, the season coming back, and I mean, he's obviously war ready, as he just posted.
Dude, that guy gets me fired up when he gets around playoff time. He's just like, so focused.
I mean, he doesn't have a fifth gear. He's got like a ninth gear, and
dude,
he's a bad man.
I was talking to someone about this on Instagram today. Anyone that like criticizes these guys drives me crazy, because it's like, you have no clue, what it takes to get to this level, and like how much intensity you have to compete at this level. It's just, we'll never know. So like, just watch.
Yeah, and not to get off topic or onto LeBron or anything, or massage him at all, but I mean, that guy's never had a scandal. That guy has been married to the same person. I mean, isn't his high school sweetheart? He's given more to charity in the area that he grew up than probably any athlete of all time. I mean, the guy's he's a good dude. I just don't understand LeBron haters. Jordan guys, but they might hate LeBron, but I'm a Jordan guy too.
That's different.
Yeah.
So we're on the topic then. Can you explain what you think the difference between a collector and an investor is?
Well, I think that I know that I'm both. So like, I consider myself a collector of things, but I also invest too. Like I think I was telling you this the other day, but if I buy like a major PC piece, and I know that's not going to go up for a while, so I know I got to like stash that, and I probably don't want to sell it anyway. And so I have a lot of capital tied up into that. So I try to match it with something that I think is going to go up quickly. to help myself pay for that. So every PC piece I buy, I'll try to buy an investment piece, per se. So I think an investor, it just gets in it just looking to make a quick dollar without the collector's mindset and without the mindset that they want to put something back to let it appreciate over time. And if it appreciates sooner, great, then maybe you sell it. But a collector buys something that they do not plan on selling. And an investor is buying something with a ceiling in mind that they would sell it for almost immediately if it hit, in my opinion.
Do you think there's room for both?
Oh, absolutely. But I think that, again, I think you should be both. I think you should have stuff that you want to put back and collect. I think everyone should have some sort of PC, and I think it's fine to be an investor too. But some of the new people coming into the hobby are just about what can I make money on right now, and hopefully when they get some of the stuff in the mail that they start to like it and start to fall in love with the hobby. Because if you're just in it for the money and you're brand new, I just don't know if you're going to make it. I think you have to have some sort of love for it.
Yeah, it's tough right now. Stuff is already so high. You have to pick the perfect thing. It's tough.
You do. And then, like we say all the time too, you got to zag, man. I mean, if you see everyone out here buying, whatever X player, then try to figure someone that's similar, that hasn't spiked yet, that could have the same kind of ceiling, and just go for it. I mean, that's what I'm buying a couple Zags right now. I don't want to say quite who they are yet, but I'm buying a couple Zags right now. And if they work out, that's great. And if they don't, then I made tons of mistakes before. But, just kind of buy stuff that not everyone else around you is buying.
Yeah. I'm trying to zag everyone away from LeBron. It's not working.
Right. Yeah. You want a little dip so you can grab a few more of those big boys.
Ugh. Dude, it's like I get one LeBron every 3 months. It's like once a quarter now, It's like
you've already got them all. I mean, what else can you get, man? You're
finest.
I
need the finest.
Yeah, that is a sweet card.
That is a sweet card. All right. Let's see. All right, so yeah, go back to the legends. Why are those guys ignored? Not ignored, but why are they relative to kind of the newer stuff? And I want to get a little deeper there. I mean, someone might point out, well, the PSA 10, rookie of Kareem is $1 million, and Zion's most expensive is never that. But that's like one card. So if we take the totality of it, like Zion rookie cards market cap is a lot higher than some of these older guys. Why is that happening?
Well, I think the legends are starting to get some more love now, and I think COVID kind of fueled that a little bit. But I think that the new stuff can be flipped easier. There's a lot of new people in the hobby, and they all, not all, but a large percentage seem to be investors. And newer people don't know the rare stuff to buy, and when they get it and they want to sell it to someone, they may not know who to sell it to, or they may be younger and not know what those people were or meant. Like you saw the Last Dance documentary. How many people do you think that educated on Michael Jordan that had no idea how good he was? And that we may have some of that going on. Like who's seen Wilt Chamberlain play? I mean, who's seen Larry Bird and Magic Johnson play, even unless they go look at some stuff, or unless a documentary comes out that showcases that. But and then also the selling it point. Like some of these younger cats come in here and they're buying Ja Morant and Zion because they know, whether they're buying it raw or graded, that they're going to have an opportunity to sell that very easily. If you're buying some of the older rare stuff, maybe you don't know who to sell that to yet, or maybe you're getting that and you're holding it for a while and you get frustrated because it's only gone up 2% instead of you're buying a raw Zion, you send it to get graded, and you're doubling your money almost instantly, sometimes triple in some cases. So I think it's just more the quick flip with the newer guys is easier to do.
Dude, I feel like if someone, like a younger person, someone with influence, came in and just started buying vintage and only vintage, and they just started showing it off and pretending dude, this is the way, this is it, vintage stuff, people would go crazy being like, what is this? I want to learn about it. And it would just cause this huge wave.
100%. I'm trying to spearhead that wave here now, but I'm not a younger person coming in. If I post a Kareem rookie on my Instagram, it gets 40 likes, and I post a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander blue, and it gets 150. Not that I care about likes, but it's crazy. I like to test that all the time. I post cool ass cards that I think have upside in a year, and nobody pays any
I think a
attention.
lot of that's just because it's so rare, right? They don't know what it is. They've never seen it. But when you post a PSA 10 Topps Chrome rookie LeBron, it's like, oh my God, you did it. Dude,
It's
there's
crazy.
thousands of these things.
Yeah, 15 comments. Kudos, bro. Get the nice pickup. I'm like, it's for sale. So yeah,
Yeah, of course it's for sale. There's freaking a ton of those things.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then can you explain rarity versus perceived rarity? And I mean, like with the modern stuff, like something's rare because there's 5 of them, but there's actually like 40 parallels. So it's.
Right. And yeah, like 40 parallels. And then I think people go off Pop Report and perceive that as rarity with the newer stuff. And then they might go grab an orange prism to 49 and consider that rare, even though there's 5 or 6 other parallels that they can grab. And then real rarity would be, the stuff that you like and I like, and the PMG stuff. That, I mean, real rarity is you don't see it on eBay, but about twice a year, maybe. You know what I mean? And perceived rarity is Pop Reports of the new stuff. And if you see it on eBay every day, if you see it on Instagram every day, it's just not rare. Some of that older stuff, and it is, like I said earlier. I mean, if you're digging in that stuff, you got to kind of love it, because it is not easy to sell, and it's not going to double overnight. It's not going to triple in a month, but it's cool to look at, and it's cool to have, and if you find the right buyer later on, maybe you're going to double your money. But that's why I say sometimes rarity is it's just the really rare stuff is hard to flip. And I think that some of these new guys, just until they fall in love, aren't gonna go after that stuff, in my opinion.
You've been buying some of the PNG stuff, right? Because that stuff is like actually rare.
Yeah, I've started dabbling in the '90s stuff a little bit there, and then I've kind of gone away from it a little bit. I plan on getting back to it, but it just doesn't come up enough. I mean, and I have to ask so many questions. Like, there are fakes out there. Like, I've contacted you, I've contacted Grant, Waldorf Stories, just asking for in '90s wax, help me buy my lone PMG red that I have of my hometown player. But there's so many questions that even I, who's been around forever, has to ask. Like, do you think that this is a good price, or could this possibly be a fake? There's just so many. And I asked you about a penny I was looking at, and you're like, yeah, even you were like a little iffy on one of them that I was looking at. So, the '90s stuff is tricky. I love it. I love it. I love it. But you have to have a ton of knowledge about it before you can even begin to go, I don't want to go buy a $5,000 card, not knowing if it's even real or not, without help or verification from 2 or 3 guys that I trust, just to make sure. That's what I had to do on the Reggie I bought. So I kind of put that on hold a little bit. But the guys that know a ton and have a ton, I really respect them, because they've done their homework.
Yeah, dude, Grant has like so much of that stuff, so
Oh,
much
and
knowledge in that it's insane.
his Instagram, it just blows my mind, man. Just those star rubies and PMGs. Those are easily the nicest looking cards. I just don't know enough about them to really go deep into it yet.
Yeah, and he always jokes about like, I post one of those Jordan rubies and I get 100 likes, and one of these guys posts a Zion base and they get 200 likes. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, same thing I was thinking, man. It's like, it's crazy.
It's like he's posting like monster, insane, and just like the one parallel. It's like there's just the PMG. There's 50 of them, or there's 90 of them, right? And then today it's like there's 50 oranges. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, like that day, the MJ challenge or whatever, you post 3 MJ cards, and he posted his, and it's like the star rubies or whatever he had. I'm just like, it broke the internet that day. I'm like, man, how does this guy have this much cool stuff? But
yeah,
yeah,
you had to start a long time ago.
yeah.
Okay, so back to new people coming in. You and I can sit here and like kind of poke fun at those people that they don't know what they're doing, but ultimately, you and I do have some sort of an obligation to help those folks. What can we do? People watching this that do have a little bit more knowledge in the game. What can we do to like help these people coming in?
I think not get frustrated when you are asked questions by them. And I'm in a little group chat with some newer collectors, and the questions are constant. Like, should I get into this break, or should I grade this, or should I, what should I flip this, or does this look like it should be graded? And at first I was like, man, I don't have time to be answering all these questions. And then I remember myself asking you questions about 90 stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I just need to, if this hobby's going to grow, I just need to like answer the questions, you know? And I think that some of the vets should take a little bit more time to start, you know, just pick 2 guys that you want to mentor and just like educate them a little bit. And first of all, you feel good about it. And then second of all, you're just like, you're helping the hobby out. You're helping people that want to stay. And people, you know, people get frustrated when they answer your questions and you just ignore them or you just give them like 1-word answers. I think we need to be a little bit more patient and maybe educate them, because there are sharks out there that will take new people's money in a heartbeat. And if we can just like educate them just a little bit more, that'll happen to them less, and then they'll like the hobby more than they would if we weren't answering those questions for them. So that's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, we could make the quick buck, but I guarantee you, if we do what you're saying and we nurture these people, we will make way more money in the long run. Because the way to make the real money in this, if that's what your goal is to get the public mania with the whole crypto thing. It's just like that, where it just absolutely takes off. Everyone loves it. And the only way we get to that is if we got people that actually love it.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat as you with that chart that 90s B-ball posted, where I thought that was a very cool chart. And I don't think we're to the apex of that yet. I think we're on the upswing of it. I mean, when you can go into a room with 100 people that you know, just random people, and tell them that, you know, your side gig is investing in buying sports cards and flipping them, they'll laugh at you. Like people at my workplace, they're like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm buying a baseball card." They're like, "Baseball cards? I have some in my garage." I'm like, until everyone knows, then we're not at mania yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you throw a rock in a room with 100 people and 3 or 4 of them might know what you're talking about, but 97 of them will laugh at you until you show them what you got. But yeah, for sure.
But then they hear the numbers, you know, a few of them, and it's like, wait a minute, start over.
Like
what is this thing again?
Yeah. You did what? And then they're like, "Well, I think my grandpa has some." And I'm like, "All right, I'll take a look." Yeah.
I think it's some of those guys that I like, my friends, I'll say, you know, we'll have these conversations, and then like a week later they'll send me a screenshot of some shitty card on eBay. Like, is this what you're talking about? I'm like, no.
Stay away from that. Yeah, please stay. It's just like a manufactured patch sticker auto college uniform, and I'm like, no, stay away, please. I'll show you what to buy.
And it is confusing, man, when they send you stuff and you're like, I see why you think it's valuable, but it's like absolutely garbage. And they're like, why? I mean, it's expensive, right? It seems rare, and you're like, where do I start?
Right. Yeah. It's just too long of a conversation. Yeah.
Okay, so what's something you want changed in the hobby? Like the number one thing you've seen a lot. What's something that's just always bugged you that you just wish would change?
Definitely shill bidding. I mean, this is everybody, but definitely shill bidding and stuff that gets relisted that I bid on that I wanted so bad, and then I realized I missed it by $100, and then I see it relisted in a week. You know, just the shady bidding activity that goes on eBay is number one for me. Number two, no pig's head, but number two would be the inconsistency in the grading companies. I mean, I love PSA and I love BGS, and I send all my cards to them, and I'll never stop doing it. But I just think they need to become a little bit more consistent with what they do. You know, you'll see some patches that are clearly fake that get graded, and that just seems unacceptable to me. If we're going to have new people come in here and stay, we need to have consistency with grading, because if I'm sending a fake card and getting it graded and I'm selling it, and someone new buys it and finds out it's fake, they're like, why would I trust this? You know, I just sent this card in to get graded. It's fake, and they even grade it. Like, what kind of deal is this? You know, so I think Chase was one of your guests and was talking about this, and that really resonated with me. The grading companies need to either hire some more people, get the grades out, get it done quicker, and be way more consistent with it, and hire people that have knowledge of what they're doing. To me, I think for us to be fully trusted as an actual, you know, an investment caliber deal, we need to make sure the grading companies are getting more consistent, and we need to shore up some of the shady activity on the bids on eBay and stuff. Those are my two main things that I think fixed.
Yeah, I mean, if we got new people coming in buying PSA Tens, and then we tell them like, well, they're PSA Tens, but like, you know, they're not really, you messed up, they're fake. It's like, what? Then how am I supposed to do this?
Right, and then you send the same card. You pick a card, send it in the whichever grading company, get a 9, and you're like, I think it's a 10. Send it back, and it comes back an 8, and it comes back a 10. It's like, sometimes that's nice if you get a 10, but it's a little bit inconsistent for my
Right.
taste.
What's your favorite part of the hobby then?
The cards themselves. That's easily my favorite part of the hobby, and then the relation. I came to Instagram a couple of years ago, right around the National, I think, and a couple of my buddies asked me to come get on there. But the people that I've met since I've been on Instagram have just like raised the hobby to another level for me. Like some of these, yourself, Chris, some of these higher end basketball guys are like just so helpful, and the community for sure is a huge deal for me. Like social media has brought sports cards to a whole nother level that it never was when I was a kid. Like, you'd have to go to a show, or you'd have to basically you just go to a show or a card shop. And now you can literally connect with anyone you want. I mean, celebrities, whoever, reaching out to you, asking to buy your cards because they follow you on Instagram. Social media has just been huge. So like the community is awesome, but the cards definitely for me, like just looking, holding the cards, collecting the cards is what does it for me.
Well, your girlish smile's giving that one away.
The
You're like the cards.
cards. You listen to Chris every time he gets on a podcast or talks, man. His passion for the hobby is just like, it's crazy. He's just when he was asked, what would you rather do, like watch sports or collect cards? And he's like, cards. I love the cards. That's a dumb question. And that's how I feel, though. And that's how a lot of people that I know feel,
Yeah. I mean, the social media is helping us feel more normal about this weird thing that we like.
100%. Yeah.
Especially when you see guys that are public figures or people that have, a lot of money. And it's like, wow, you like this weird stuff too? This, like, I'm not, it's not just me at my house.
Right. It's not just me alone sitting at my house flipping through cards in my boxers.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, show us some cards. What do you got?
What do you want to see? Let's see. I'll start with, and I still have some cool old baseball. I'll go with what is probably my favorite stuff in baseball. It's 1933 Gowdy Babe Ruth. All four. They have 4 of those. There's the yellow. Can you see that?
Yeah.
There's the yellow PSA 4. Pretty cool.
What's the pop on that?
I don't know. I haven't checked. And then the red. There's the red version. That's a PSA 3.5. So
what's the difference between the red and the yellow?
There was just 4. There's 4 of them in that set. The yellow is the most, the hardest to find. There's just, and then here's the other 2. This is the other. There's 4 in that set, and they are. It's an iconic set. Babe Ruth is obviously an iconic guy, but and they're expensive, but they're not like Mickey Mantle rookie level expensive, and that's just another kind of thing. Like, again, if you put 100 people in a room and you ask them who Mickey Mantle is, and you ask them random people and ask them who Babe Ruth is, I bet Babe Ruth may win that. You know what I mean? And those are iconic cards right there, and I think they have a ton of room. But I just have always loved those things. But here's
he doesn't have a lot of cards, right? Babe Ruth doesn't have a lot.
No, I mean, I'm not a pre-war expert by any means. There's a lot of guys out there that know a lot more about it than I do, but there's not a ton of them. There's some old caramel cards, and then there's 1 or 2 after. Like there's a 48 leaf that's after his playing days. But that 33 Gowdy set and those Babe Ruths, especially in that 33 Gowdy set, are just like where it's at with him, in my opinion. And I think when you had Brent from PWCC on there, he was mentioning those as something that he really liked too. And I was like, oh, sweet, I have one. And then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go get the other 3 if I can slowly. So it took me a year and a half to slowly accumulate and get all 4, and then just kind of upgrade as I go. But those are 4 cards that I'll probably never sell. But this is probably my favorite basketball. This is Larry and Magic Chronology Gold to 10, dual auto, BGS 9.5. And I got to give a shout out to my buddy Mike Kramer. card collector 291 on here. I went to the national was the last Chicago one, and I was just kind of like in my infancy of collecting Magic and Bird, and we were talking, and I said, hey, if I were to buy one Magic and Bird card, what would you buy if you were me? He goes, come here, I got something to show you. So he took me over to a booth, and it was actually, I think you had these guys on, Card Hobby Official. They had a booth over by the Breaking Pavilion there, and they had this sitting there, and I was instantly in love, and I was like, I just had to have it. So I made them an offer, they accepted it. And then I realized that Rodman, who you've also had on, was the guy that had the other one. This is a Pop 2. You know, there's only 10. It's the gold version, but it's just so awesome. It's got the green and gold on there, which is Celtics and Lakers, and the BGS label with the gold. Number to 10, do a lot of it. Rodman has the other. I think he just recently maybe have traded it or sold it, but he had the other one. So we like took pictures with it, and that's how I met Rodman. And then so we like kept in touch after that. But that's just a really cool card for me.
Kramer's one of the best, man. I wish all collectors could be more like that guy.
Yeah, he's another one that's been extremely helpful for me, especially with like some of this basketball stuff that I didn't know much about when I first got in. I love
because a lot of kids would have been like, oh, let me flip something to you, and he's like, dude, let me show you, and he just got you the card.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Here's some more Larry and Magic. I don't know if you can see those. It is 0304 numbers pieces, exquisite. The Magic is a 3-color, and the Larry is a 2-color, which is pretty cool. I just recently acquired these, but those are my favorite. That's probably one of my favorite exquisite sets, besides limited logos. So those are pretty tough to find. There's the 9 PSA 9 rookie of Bird and Magic with Dr. J in the middle there.
What's the pop on that one? Do you know?
What's that?
Do you know the pop on the 9?
I haven't checked. No, I have no idea.
Because the 10 is like stupid low.
Yeah, and the 10's like what, 150, 200,000. Like I'll probably never have a 10.
Yeah.
And then just a couple more exquisite Magic and Larry. The 0405 limited logos, Magic and Larry, and the Magic has a pretty cool patch, but I wanted to get some 0304s and some 0910s, but that, you know, it's just a slow process. I started getting some Jordan inserts too, and I'll show the Reggie Miller PMG red. I'm an Indiana guy, so Reggie's always been a favorite of mine, but that's the PMG red, Reggie Miller.
8.5 is tough. I mean, those are chipped like crazy.
Yeah, that's the one that Grant and 90s Wax helped me out with, the legitimacy of that one. Just a bunch of other Bird Magic stuff. Got the green. Oh, here's a cool one. It's a Star Ruby Tim Duncan rookie.
Sick.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Those are really cool. I like those ones just as much as the base ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then probably my 2 favorite MJ inserts, which I just recently started getting into in PSA Tens. I got the Duncan Go Nuts, which is my favorite, and then the electrifying PSA 10. I love both of those.
And you don't got any yellow on that Go Nuts?
No, it's completely clear.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's about it. I got some other stuff laying here, but I do love, like, Crown Royale silhouettes are my jam. There's a pretty sick Magic one there with a nasty patch and autograph. Aren't those cool? Like, I love the silhouettes.
I mean, it's, you know, you don't really want Magic and Bird signing too much stuff, but I mean, you still do get like new stuff that you can try to find.
Oh yeah, like the flawless dual memorabilias are cool. Like there's quite a few Panini Magic and Bird stuff that I really like. There's, you know, like the immaculate. I have a immaculate dual auto. That's a sick card. You know, and that's Panini. Yeah. So I'm not a big Panini.
Dude, their autos are so nice. Why don't look at those autos, dude? They're like, they spend time, and
I mean, their Magic's is just awesome. Theirs is cool too, but
it's like Cam Reddish does this.
Yeah, I mean, that should be a multiple $1,000 card. I mean, it was $400 or $500. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. So.
This has been good, man. Any last parting words for everyone? Some last minute wisdom?
No, I don't think so. I will say, and I'll give you a little bit of a shameless plug here, but Card Ladder is awesome. You guys should definitely use that as a tool, whether you're new or have been around for a while. It's something that I use every day. If you're whether you're looking to learn stuff about the hobby, but the news feed every day is something that I love. You just wake up and look at that, and it shows all the cards that have sold the previous day, which is a phenomenal thing. So I scroll through there, see if I have anything that sold, and there's some things that I may have sold, and I look on there and I'm like, oh wow, that sold for $1,500 today. I had it valued at $1,000. So I think that a tool like that is something that everybody should check out for sure. But yeah, no, that's it.
Well, thanks for the plug. I appreciate that, man. This has been awesome. We'll do it again.
All right, thanks, man.
See ya.
See ya.